What about all of the things that you said, Brandy? Like the one time when you told us you were married and you actually weren't? The lies you tell. Teen icon and our favorite Cinderella, Brandy Norwood, has rode the pop culture wave since the 90s. Scoring her own TV show along with #1 hits, Brandy dominated the last decade of the 20th century, all whilst maintaining a squeaky clean image. By the time the early 2000s came about, Brandy, no longer a teen, surprised everyone when it was announced that the then 23-year-old was pregnant and had secretly tied the knot the previous year. However, all of that was not only one huge lie, it couldn't have been further from the truth. Keep watching to find out how Brandy's fake marriage to Robert Smith unfolded. Sitting up in my room, I Want to Be Down, What About Us? Brandy has hits for days and in my opinion doesn't quite get the recognition she deserves compared to others who broke out in the spotlight around the same time she did. But we aren't here to talk about my opinion. Rather, we're here to dissect how M to the O to the Moesha herself was able to convince the masses she was a whole wife when she was nothing more than a jump-off. Not my words, but more on that later. Managed by momager Sonia Norwood, Brandy Norwood established herself as a teen sensation during the 90s with her fun, tween-friendly bangers and albums. Raised by Willie Norwood, a choir-directing father, and Sonia Norwood, an overprotective stage mom, Brandy went about Hollywood and other avenues auditioning for any and everything that could utilize her God-given talents. Fortunately, or not, for her parents were there every step of the way. Mama Sonia overseeing all of her daughter's gigs and booking, and personal life. Sonia's grip of Brandy's image in the public eye was tight. Going on countless talk and radio shows, Brandy and her mom made it known loudly and proudly that she was not with the shiznits when it came to that side of entertainment. She was a good girl. A great role model to young girls everywhere compared to some of her peers, whom we may not name. If you know, you know. Especially younger black girls whose parents deemed Brandy the perfect big TV sister to their little ones, despite her character Moesha being low-key problematic if we do say so ourselves. By the time Moesha came to an end, Brandy was still a well-established artist and would release her third highly anticipated album, Full Moon, in 2002. Produced by the one and only Rodney Darkchild Jerkins, Full Moon gave us everything 90s Brandy did not. It was definitely ahead of its time and spawned the hit What About Us? Little Brandy was no longer little and was coming into her adulthood fairly nicely. Not too much, yet the maturity in her music and her vocals were becoming. The production process of Full Moon was definitely an experience, to say the least. We'd say downright traumatic for Brandy herself, not due to the recording process or anything like that, but because of the relationships birthed from the Darkchild production crew. Aiding Rodney with his expertise would be LaShawn Daniels, Fred Jerkins, and producer, songwriter, and musician Robert Smith. When Rodney brought his fam and associates on board, he surely was thinking he had something great on his hands. After all, he was working with Brandy of all people. However, we doubt he was thinking an entire mess would also come out of it, because a mess was definitely what this was. Working so close with Robert sparked feelings for Brandy and vice versa, and soon enough, Brandy and Robert Smith began a relationship in 2001. She'd smacked the press with a major truth bomb, revealing that she was 5 months pregnant with her first child. And the baby daddy? No other than Robert Smith himself. Another bomb was revealed when she came about and stated that she and the father of her child had actually eloped privately over the summer, and according to her, she couldn't have been happier. Well, Brandy, if you like it, we love it. Doesn't mean we aren't highly suspicious, because they definitely were. The surprise news had the media grasping for whichever information about Brandy's secret marriage they could get their pens on. And with so much speculation, Brandy, along with her mom, pops, and Robert, would go on the Oprah Winfrey Show to discuss the marriage, her pregnancy, and clear up any misinformation. Appearing on Oprah, a very much pregnant Brandy sat beside her mom whilst telling Oprah how exactly she broke the news to her parents. Sonia took it upon herself to answer for Brandy, claiming that one day Brandy and Robert were playing in the driveway when she, along with husband Willie, asked the two, "When are y'all gonna get married?" To which Brandy and Robert shouted, "We are." "Well, I'll be darned." Sonia then said her husband stepped to Robert to catch his potential bluff, but nope, no bluff detected. His daughter and Robert wedded and didn't tell a single soul, not even them. Sitting there grinning more wider than a Cheshire cat, Brandy spoke proudly about her man whilst Robert sat in the front row of the audience beside her dad Willie, shyly detailing his time spent with Brandy. All in all, the show felt wholesome at best, and the public was eager to see how Brandy's pregnancy journey was coming along. Appearing on MTV's TRL, she'd make another appearance, hesitantly discussing her pregnancy and marriage. Apparently, it wasn't just Oprah and we, the public, suspecting some foul play at play, because TRL host Carson Daly would also probe the vocal Bible. She stuck to what she told Oprah: "I'm pregnant and Robert the pappy." The entire pregnancy was documented on an MTV special titled MTV Diary Presents Brandy Special Delivery. The limited series took us through Brandy's pregnancy journey, featuring some of her peers, relatives, and Robert, all the way up to the birth of their daughter, Sarai. In the show, fans noticed how Robert often seemed relatively distant or lacking an emotional connection with Brandy, but the media didn't think too much of it. Their baby girl finally arrived in June 2002 on Father's Day. But quickly as the relationship took off, it would end just as quickly. A couple months after the birth of their daughter, Brandy and Robert would call it quits, leaving fans disappointed, but not surprised. Telling us that the breakup was mutual and the two were still very good friends, we assumed that everything was all good under the hood when it came to their relationship as co-parents. I mean, that is what y'all told us, right? Not too long after Brandy found herself in yet another relationship, this time with NBA player Quentin Richardson. And faster than the blink of an eye, he popped the big question. She even went out of her way to have his entire face tattooed on her back before they officially wedded. She just knew Quentin was the one, telling the media that she wants to count this marriage as her first one. "It'll be the first time I'll ever get the chance to walk down the aisle. This time it won't be a secret." Aw, we're happy for you, sis. But as far as your ex goes, in the words of Whoopi in that Ghost movie, "Moesha, you in danger, girl." Career-wise, that is. Nobody at all. Robert Smith. It was all a lie. We don't know what set dude off or if the contract was up, but Brandy's ex was out here spilling all of his and Brandy's little secrets, telling Wendy Williams of all people that he and Brandy's marriage divorce was not real. In fact, none of it was real. It was nothing but a ploy, a cover-up to censor the fact that America's Angel Brandy had gotten pregnant out of wedlock by a man she barely knew. And the person behind the cover-up? No other than Miss Sonia Norwood. Sonia was not finna let her precious pride and joy, her daughter and her meal ticket, go out like this. Sketching up a plan to save face, she along with a few others decided that if her daughter was gonna be out here willingly giving it up, then she better be married before she got knocked up. Even if that meant faking it till she made it, or birthed it. Robert didn't stop there. In another interview with Power 99 Radio, he was being uber messy, and all that friends talk Brandy was saying earlier was not how he was riding. According to Rob, Brandy was nothing more than a jump-off, a whole side dish. Their fling was never meant to last. In fact, Robert had been involved with a whole other woman at the same time Brandy was pregnant. As you'd expect, Brandy was not thrilled to hear about any of this when news broke to the media. The jig was up. Robert applied even more pressure when he filed for joint custody of his daughter Sarai and won. She could no longer keep up with the charade of their old relationship, and Brandy would eventually come out and explain why she lied about their whole union. Her publicist worked overtime doing damage control, telling the press that Robert Smith was trying to muster up publicity for himself as well as the artists he'd been working with. PR aside, Brandy finally came out and told us directly that yes, it was true. Her marriage to Robert Smith wasn't real. However, it was a marriage nonetheless, a spiritual one. The truth is, we didn't have a traditional marriage. We had an understanding. No, we didn't have a minister officiate, but in our hearts we lived as a married couple. Robert insisted that him speaking out was in no way to harm Brandy's reputation or take away from his fatherly duties to their baby girl. He was simply stating the truth. Coming clean to Oprah over a decade later in a Where Are They Now segment, she confessed that she told a big fib the last time she was on the show. From the source's own mouth, the reason why Brandy decided to lie was due to the backlash she'd receive if she were to have a child born out of wedlock, which she says wasn't a trend during that time, calling it a whole sin, as if lying was not. She was pressured into being this perfect Barbie doll, and felt as though the repercussions of her actions were going to ruin everything she worked hard for. However, we must remember that Brandy was a young woman in the public eye, being guided by the same woman who raised a guy who willingly created a tape with Kim Kardashian and received little to no backlash because of it. Her career was never quite the same after Robert Smith boldly tainted the wholesome persona Brandy used to capture the hearts of many. But he wasn't alone in this. It's easy to sit here and say Brandy's mom was to blame for putting so much pressure on her daughter to be perfect, or that Robert shouldn't have come out and said what he said. But truth be told, everyone involved were willing participants, including Brandy herself. Quentin and Brandy called it quits before they'd get a chance to walk down the aisle. But in 2012, she took a whack at love yet again, getting engaged to music executive Ryan Press. Unfortunately, the third time was not the charm, and the couple broke things off in 2014. Unlike her portrayal as Cinderella, she has yet to find her Prince Charming and wants no parts of the married life anytime soon. Can you blame her? How do you feel about Brandy lying about her marriage? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments, and stay tuned for more true celebrity stories.